All right. This is your fourth installment of the College Lifter podcast. I'm here with my co host, Ryan Capers.
What's up?
We're sitting across the state right now. Ryan is still in Pensacola, and I am down in sunny South Florida doing my thing, sort of. So things got a little derailed. If you listened to the show last week with me and Kara, there are a couple updates that I need to give to kind of amend that.
Excited. I can't wait to hear them. Haven't heard anything yet.
Well, yeah, so, you know, being in college, you kind of get comfortable with the idea that plans don't always stick the way they originally look like they're going to. And so, unfortunately, due to just extenuating circumstances, I'm not taking a class at UNF. I'm not taking a class at UNF. Instead, I am just taking one online class with UWF. So, weeks before I start working, I am down here in Miami.
Yeah. Okay. That's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad. Training's thrown off a little bit. There's nowhere I can really go heavy, but I've been picking up some CrossFit endurance interval work. Man, you can tell I'm tired.
Yeah.
So that was today, which was just absolutely brutal.
What was it today?
8 200-meter sprints.
What was the timing?
I
Was
just
it on heart rate like you talked about on Barbell Shrugged?
no, I don't have a heart rate monitor. I just did 1-to-1 work to rest, but with me and my out of shape self as far as running goes, that ended up being extended as time went on because I would get halfway done and it would just die.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't even cardio; it was just muscularly in my legs. They just did not want to push any harder.
Oh yeah, dude. Running, dude. Running will just smoke your legs so fast if you're not used to it.
So, do you think that means I'm a power responder? I'm still not sure.
Oh man, I wouldn't read too much into that. Not that it doesn't mean anything, but I on a basic level like that of saying, I haven't run 200-meter repeats in a while, and I ran them, and my legs are tired. I don't read into that.
Well,
I, I
well,
believe I believe what he's talking about more than anything is as far as responding. What he means by the word respond is how quickly you recover and quote unquote make gains on that in that particular area.
yeah, I agree. I was just trying to play with an analogy of maybe since it was the muscles that gave out instead of the cardiovascular system that might be it. But I really don't understand this. Brian McKenzie, if you ever hear this, please give me some references to understand this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It was. He definitely didn't expand on it very much. I like listening to it. I was like, "Are you going to talk about that some more? Or are you just going to leave it? You just going to talk about responding and not really break that down?" But whatever. But yeah, I mean, no, I it was. I think I kind of got the gist of what he was talking about. I guess.
Yeah. So, for our viewers who have heard our episode on conditioning, and for all of you who didn't hear, Brian McKenzie talked about having an aerobic base for CrossFit, and that basically if you can stay in that aerobic state for longer, then you will probably perform better. Now, Ryan, does this kind of change your view on what we went over in that conditioning podcast?
No, 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 no. I mean, there's a lot of research that shows an aerobic base will uh, is helpful for even an anaerobic athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I agree with everything that he said. I agree with
Oh,
it with a lot. And I mean to say that somebody is genetically coded to be more aerobic or anaerobic is not very crazy at all. I mean it's the same thing as saying you know some you're genetically coded to be able to lift to be a power lifter versus grow muscle or grow those red fibers easier and be a bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah, that's true.
it's in my mind it's the same thing. we're talking about very similar things. We're just talking about genetics at that point.
Gotcha. Now, see, this is where I get confused, though, and I think this is where a lot of guys get confused. Is you hear guys like Dr. Andy Galpin talk, and they talk about how you can convert and you can go from being maybe you were born a red fiber guy and you switch to a white fiber guy.
Yeah.
And the play of genetics, and then he throws in the fact that Kelly, who's a red fiber kind of genetically dominant guy, ends up squatting 600 pounds.
Yeah.
At a much advanced age.
Yeah, I think that's a really controversial thing. I think that can go a lot of ways. You hear it talked about. I mean, that's a huge. People argue about that all day long. About is it genetics or is genetics all BS and you choose whatever you want to be and all this stuff. Do you develop these fibers because of how you played as a kid? All these crazy things and I believe you are. You are built genetically one way, but to alter it, I don't think is too crazy. Now, I err more on the side of you can't absolutely transform the fibers, but you can slightly change the fibers. We all know that we have the three fiber types. We got fiber type 1, fiber type 2A, and fiber type 2X. I mean, if you're a 2X dominant athlete, you're an anaerobic dominant athlete. I firmly believe that, if you're taking a sprinter and they start doing a little bit of endurance work, then we can slowly start to mold over a very, very specific program over a long period of time. We can slowly start to mold some of those 2X fibers into some 2A fibers. Not necessarily take them all the way to a aerobic red fiber,
Right.
but into that intermediate pink fiber. I think that's very, very possible.
Gotcha. So, with CrossFit getting heavier and heavier, what do you really think is more important for guys, younger guys like us kind of growing up into it? Do you think it's important to have more of the aerobic side of the house? Do you think it's more important to have that kind of white fiber speed and strength, or just sit right in the middle?
Oh, you know what? Honestly, I think that's what makes CrossFit so awesome is because you should have a balance of everything. It's I mean, even in my programming that I write for the people at the gym, it's everything. A couple times a week we'll be doing intervals. A couple times a week we'll be doing a longer conditioning piece. A couple times a week we'll be doing, just a straight up sprint. Sometimes we're going to do a long recovery. Sometimes it's going to be very, very short recovery. Sometimes it's going to be larger movement, shorter movement, and that, CrossFit gets a lot of flack about being, that whole idea of it being what do they call it? The hopper, where you the original idea of CrossFit is that's just random. CrossFit gets a lot of crap for that, but I don't think it should be random, but I think it should. I think the idea of that is not to be random, but it's more to be a evenly distributed amount of everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. And I think that is absolutely imperative to train that way in CrossFit to get everything out of it and to be a well-rounded athlete. Now we start talking about individual weaknesses, you gotta look at yourself. But as far as for a group, yeah, you gotta have an even balance.
Well, yeah, that individual weakness stuff is where kind of specialty coaches or just pulling a coach like you aside and saying, hey, like we did with me in that pause squat program from Travis Mash, I had a horrible time staying upright in the bottom of a clean and the bottom of a front squat. But that program was a very specific thing that helped me out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And say, like, let's say you were somebody, you were just a member at the barn, and you just you were great on all the conditioning, none of that ever bothered you. You crushed every wad as long as it was a light one. Some of your Olympic lifts were pretty good, you were a good presser, but something about squatting just broke you. Okay, well then me and you are going to step to the side and we'll be like, okay, well this is something we should probably start working on a little bit after the workout. Or if we have a squatting day, we're going to do some pause front squats no matter what the No matter what's written on the board, you're going to do pause front squats. You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, I think that's very important, even in the big group setting, to kind of take people aside and say, this is what you're going to do instead.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty crucial point. I've had that done with a lot of coaches with me.
Yeah, very, very important. And not only does that, not only does that, help you fix those specific things, but let's say, once again, you are just a member of the gym, and that makes you feel like that coach cares about you, and that's important because more than likely the coach really does care about you.
Oh yeah, yeah. But and I mean, if you're just a member of the gym, you don't necessarily have to just target that weakness if that's not something you're into. If you're just showing up to, do your thing, burn some calories if that's your perspective, or just get a good workout in, quote unquote, then I mean that's just you do your thing. If you want to get specialized, that's where stuff starts to change a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that a lot. And I'd also even go to say, everybody, people, those same people that we're talking about, those who just want to do the conditioning and, just make it through the workout, get their exercise because they enjoy it. Well, let's say we'll just keep that same thing that we're talking about. Like if you're that person that's breaking in your front squats, you're that T-spine's breaking over. And we do a lot of squat cleans in the workout, or we do some front squats in the workout, or we do some thrusters and things like that, and you keep rounding in your T-spine and you're causing yourself to work twice as hard, and that movement's becoming incredibly harder for you and you don't enjoy that. And now every time you see, which we all do when we see thrusters on the board, but anytime you see any of those movements, you just cringe because you're like, oh my god, this is going to suck so bad. Well, now we're back to that point where it's like, well, you need to come to the side. We need to work on that, fix that, get that piece a little stronger. Figure out what mobility issues we're having there, and now we've made your day easier. Which is just as important as coming in, working out, and being more fit.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, at some point it comes down to a safety issue. I know I have 2 compressed discs in my back, and we did a workout, which is the one that convinced me to actually do this program with you. That was it was a ascending ladder or descending ladder, I can't remember, of heavy cleans and double unders. So that all that jolting just destroyed me. So it also comes down to a safety factor at some points, but
yeah, it does.
So, all right, well, for all you listening, this is our first experiment with long distance podcasting. So we're making this one a short one. We got about 2 minutes left. Ryan, is there anything you want to bring up that you can fit in 2 minutes that you think is vital for the viewers to hear?
Oh man, 2 minutes. I don't know. I'm a rambler. There's no way I could fit anything in 2 minutes. I couldn't even tell you my phone number in 2 minutes.
That's pretty bad. I don't know how that's possible, but all right.
That's pretty bad. But yeah, I enjoyed it. That was a good one. We got that was some good information real quick.
Yeah, just a good little blurt. So for all you listening, there is a Facebook page up now. It's the College Lifter Show. You can join us there. You can ask us questions. You can just start chats and see what we're up to. We'll be updating that more and more frequently as soon as our tech person gets back in the country. And we also still have the Twitter page at Sealifter Podcast. It'll show up as Sealifter Show. I need to change that. And yeah, that's it. Look for us on iTunes soon. I'm getting that set up, and a website will be up soon as well.
Awesome. And I'm Ryan Capers. I'm at the Barn SC on Instagram and the Barn Strength Conditioning on Facebook.
All right. Good talk, man. See you later.
All right, man. Bye.